it! What is that script?
There's a champion in League of Legends that cheaters love more than any other. Xerath. There's 164 champions to choose from in League of Legends, but something about this champion that was released over 12 years ago is just irresistible to cheaters. And here's why. League of Legends is not a perfect game. It does have its problems, but one of them isn't really cheating. In 2018, Riot shared statistics on the prevalence of cheating in Ranked, showing a downward trend over the previous 2 years to a rate of less than 0.5% of all games. They also said the average player is likely to encounter a scripter once in every 400 ranked games. Now that's not bad when you compare it to the likes of Counter-Strike. Valve haven't released their official cheating stats, but the overwhelming anecdotal evidence over the years points to the fact that it's probably a lot worse than 1 in 400 games. But although scripting isn't a major problem in League of Legends, it does still exist, and scripts can come in many forms. Some of them track information the player probably wouldn't know otherwise.
Super zoomed out, and like it gives him all info, like every CD, flash, summoners, CDs, what they leveled up first. Just so much info. Honestly, it's like info overload. If I played like this immediately, I would actually probably initially play a little worse just because it's info overload.
Some help a player dodge skill shots better than Faker.
Hell no. Hey, someone check his PC, man.
Some of them are used to maximize mechanically intensive champions like Cassiopeia.
Oh, that was instantaneous. Like instantaneous. You see that? Both spells activated at the exact time, and she hit it dead in the center of where she was gonna be. That's actually a script.
And AD carry champions tend to attract scripters too, due to the ability to orb walk, kite, and dodge like an AI. Skills that traditionally separate an average AD carry from an absolutely cracked one. But there's one champion that is synonymous with scripting. One champion that comes to mind for everyone when they think of scripting in League. One champion that honestly kind of seems designed almost for scripting, Xerath.
In League, like, you actually do have a decent chance of beating someone who's cheating their ass off. Like, look at this. What? Wow. The script can immediately track LeBlanc W. Look at that. Amazing.
Over the years, it's reached a point where a lot of players are immediately suspicious of a good Xerath player. When most players pull off a perfect combo and land all their abilities to get a kill, they're a god. When an honest Xerath does it, they're usually accused of scripting. So how do things end up like this for Xerath? Well, like many things, it all begins with champion design. Riot designed Xerath as an artillery champion. He's supposed to sit behind his team, poke down the enemy from a distance, and finish off stragglers with his ult. In order to balance the relative safety of Xerath's long-range abilities, Riot also made them pretty hard to hit. He's balanced around the fact that the average player is probably going to miss some of their skill shots, so when they do land, they need to hit a bit harder to compensate. But what if a player was hitting 80%, 90%, 95% of all of their Xerath skill shots consistently? Suddenly, those skill shots don't seem so balanced. They seem a little unfair.
That guy called. This guy. No, I can't play.
Scripting turns Xerath from a champion that is pretty balanced because it's expected that you'll whiff a certain amount of skill shots to one that is insanely broken because you never really miss. And this is even stronger on Xerath than you might think, because in League of Legends, Xerath is kind of the skill shot king. Out of all 164 champions in League of Legends, there are very few that actually have 4 offensive skill shots as their abilities. Vel'Koz has 4, Lux has 4, but one of them is a shield. You could also include Corki, Taliyah, Ziggs. It kind of depends on where you draw the line on what is an offensive skill shot. Now, don't get me wrong, you can find examples of scripting on dozens of different champions. There really aren't many champions that scripting doesn't improve, maybe except Udyr. It's just that there are some like Xerath who take it to a whole new level. On top of the sheer amount of damage skill shots that Xerath has, his Q, W, and R go through minions, which makes scripting on him a lot easier, as you don't have to worry about your skill shots being being blocked like you would with other champions. So Xerath becomes the obvious choice for a lot of scripters. He has not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 damaging abilities, 3 of which cannot be blocked, and as we established earlier, become extremely broken when you're able to hit most of them like a scripter can. So we know why scripts work well on Xerath, and when you watch a scripter playing Xerath, it becomes pretty obvious why they're so attracted to him. There's plenty of VODs uploaded by scripters that show how his skill shots are aided by scripts. In this clip, you can see the scripter's Q lock onto Garen despite the player's cursor being nowhere near him. Look at that. Absolutely nowhere near him. In this YouTube VOD, modestly titled How I Won Every Single Game Scripting on Xerath, look at how every cast of Xerath's ult hits despite his cursor being nowhere near an enemy, netting him a double kill that would make a challenger player blush. Will scripters always be drawn to Xerath? Xerath was released in 2011 and hasn't really changed too much since. You'd expect that at some point over the past decade there would have been a few champions released that would be better suited for scripting than him. But that's not necessarily always been the case. We spoke to former Riot game security dev Nemanja Magic about how Riot may have shifted aspects of their game design philosophy in response to scripting.
You know, it's easy to look back at it and be like, yeah, okay, a champion that's this mechanically intense and requires this amount of like perfection to really excel in, yeah, this is going to be scriptable. Like someone's going to write automation and destroy other people. And yeah, I think that you know, as these things pop up, I think game developers, at least Riot, has been very receptive and has changed champion kits to make it easier so that people aren't abusing scripts to actually be good at those champions.
Making it easier for a player to maximize a champion's kit means there's less room for scripts to exist in the first place. It lowers the whole skill ceiling so that scripting doesn't give as much of an advantage as it would with a champion like Xerath. That's not to say that more modern champions like Cassante, Gwen, or reworked Akali have overloaded kits that probably need adjusting. But a scripter isn't going to be able to squeeze that much more juice out of them in a way they could with Xerath. Now, not long after we spoke to Nemanja, Riot announced new champion Hwei. The champion has a whopping 10 abilities, the most unique abilities on one champion in League's history, and one which Riot have already admitted has a high skill ceiling and high complexity. So it's not too surprising that there's already been scripts developed for him, with players looking to abuse his inherent complexity and maximize his potential to levels he was never balanced around. Could Hwei be the new Xerath? Possibly, but it's hard to beat Xerath as the cheaters champion for the reasons we've already gone over. It would probably take a rework for him to be less appealing to scripters, but the issue is he really doesn't need a rework when you step back and look at the big picture. His win rate tends to hover at or above 50%, his popularity can range between 5 and 10% depending on the patch, and his ban rate is currently sitting at a very modest 14%. These are all respectable numbers. It's unlikely that Riot will make Xerath less skill shot dependent in order to lower the effectiveness of scripts on him. It's just not worth it. As we said at the top of the video, League of Legends has an acceptably low level of cheating relative to other games, and even though scripting does inflate a player's win rate, it's not the be all and end all.
I would say that the nice thing though about League of Legends is it's a team-based game to the point that even if someone's cheating with scripts, you can still win a lot of the times against them. It's not as lethal as like an FPS game where, you know, someone aimbotting an attack shooter just completely carries their team, right? And you have zero recourse there. You just lose the round and eventually the entire match.
It's likely that Riot will continue to use other preventative measures to keep scripters out of League instead of tearing up a champion like Xerath. Xerath is fine. Xerath is a great champion even. He just happens to be the one in League of Legends that cheaters probably love most. I've just been handed this by producer Matt. You probably recognize this as Jinx, and we're giving this away to the person who comments first in the video. Don't even have to know your address. I'm kidding, of course. Please don't sue us. Just a little joke.